Josep, welcome in Aquarium Sessions.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for your performance.
Thank you.
And your demonstration of the LiveLoop software, which you developed yourself.
Yes.
Completely, isn't it?
Yes, completely. I had the whole idea from the beginning, and I just started with, I just wanted to make one loop. I didn't intend to make a whole software and even to release it. I just had problems with my performances. I wanted to perform my music in a way that it was not possible. So I started developing, but during my masters, I developed this software during my masters at the Conservatory of Amsterdam. So during my masters, every month I had a new performance. So for each month I need to prepare a new piece. So for new piece, new feature. So one or more features per month, and that during 2 years, this was what it came out of it.
Okay. And you did your masters at the conservatory. What masters was it?
Yeah, in live electronics.
Live electronics.
Yeah, it was at the masters, but it's required to have a very high level in as an instrumentalist as well. It's meant for instrumentalists to introduce to electronics, and I'm an instrumentalist myself. I play clarinet and saxophone since I'm a little kid, since I'm 9 years old actually. And during my career I stopped playing music for a while, like professionally. I studied engineering in Valencia, the university, and I developed mechanical engineering. So that was what brought me to the Netherlands. I came here 8 years ago to work as an engineer.
In the Netherlands?
Yeah.
And what company?
I first started in a company in offshore and in Dordrecht. It's called Mampai, and then from that I moved to high-tech companies. I work for a company called TMC, which is a consultant company, and this company would allow me to work in many different projects for different companies.
Okay, but it was mechanical engineering, not software engineering.
No, not software. I didn't know anything about software before I started my masters.
Okay.
Actually, I learned programming to develop this software. I didn't have any previous experience before.
But the thinking of an engineer helps, I guess.
I guess so. But in my experience, I would say everything. I mean, in my experience was I want to do this, so I will learn it. Yeah. It's not more about but definitely thinking as an engineer means thinking about resolving problems. Okay. Problem solving. So this actually I think is a good.
Okay. And when did you start to? You said during your masters. How many years is that? When was that?
I actually yesterday, 2 days ago, it was 4 years when I applied for it. Okay. I graduated like 2 years ago. Okay. And when I finished my masters, this was my thesis project, and so they gave me a good grade for it. And the government of Netherlands, they gave me a grant for 9 months to keep developing the idea and to release the software. So this is what I did during last year. Okay. So last year I released it, and now I keep going with it.
And you lived in Valencia before, and then you went to Rotterdam, Amsterdam.
Yeah, I mean I live in many places. Okay. Actually, 10 years, more than 10 years ago, I also lived in England as a student. Okay. I had a student job there. Then I also lived 1 year in Romania. Okay. Then I went to Spain. I finished my studies. I'm from Valencia. I came here.
Okay. Yeah. And since when do you live in the Netherlands?
Since 8 years ago, 2012, 13. So.
Okay. Yeah. And then you start developing the LiveLoop software. It's only 4 years ago. Yeah.
Before that, I mean, to be honest, I was always interested into making electronic music, but at the time when I was in Spain, I had no money to invest in gear. I mean, gear is expensive, and I had my saxophone and my clarinet, and this is what I was doing. Actually, it was more focused in jazz. My main idea was making jazz and using loops to play some jazz tunes. But when I moved here and I started working as an engineer, I started making money. So all my money I was getting as an engineer, I invested into gear, into making music. So during all the years I was working during the day and by night making music every day. I built a studio home, and this is what I did for many years actually. And I was playing with pedals. And in the turning point when I got into the masters, I got a programming teacher which allowed me to really develop the software I wanted to have for my music.
Yeah. And then you started using other loopers, etc., and it wasn't satisfying because you missed a lot of things which you just mentioned in the demonstration.
Yeah.
Like all the rhythms, effects, beat quantizing.
I mean,
and yes.
Sorry, what I wanted to say that all the loops, all the tools I found are mostly for, in my opinion, they were for very commercial music. As I mentioned before, it was very limited, and I thought like music, like loop music, could be a lot more advanced.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a good looper that could do all these all timing things.
Okay. But this looper can do 4/4 too?
Of course, of course, you can do 4. And I also play 4/4 sometimes. I also like it, but I want to have the possibility. And I also noticed that a lot of musicians don't do it because they don't have the possibility.
Yeah.
So when they see they can do it and they see it's easy to do it, like because a lot of people are very interested into polyrhythms, but playing polyrhythms is actually hard.
Yeah.
You need to work hard.
Yeah.
But I made LiveLoops in such a way that it will actually recognize the beats and it will loop the beat you pre-assigned before. So it's easier for the musician. The musician can play polyrhythms in an easy way now.
Yeah. What you mentioned in the demonstration is that you can try out the software for 30 days for free. How expensive is it if you want to continue with it?
So we have different models. We have LiveLoop Lite and we have LiveLoop Pro. And the LiveLoop Lite, we have either subscriber or one-time payment. The LiveLoop Lite is actually €5 a month, the subscription, or 150 euros, the whole package. Or you can, and the LiveLoop Pro is 15 euros a month, or 300 euros the full time
package. What's the difference between Lite and Pro?
So the Lite has 8 tracks. It doesn't have a sequencer.
Okay.
These are mostly and most advanced features. Let's say the Lite version would be suitable for like a regular live looping musician. They do acoustic instruments or and they have all the synchronization modes and everything. But the Pro, it's more for go more deeper into effects and more deeper into sequencing and more, let's say, I would say, more. It has all the more advanced possibilities. That has.
What about the gear here on the table? You use it to produce the music. And to loop it, etc. Can you explain a little bit how you use it? What's on the table?
Yes. So I don't produce music. I play everything live. So when I record, when I make a recording, I play it and I record it. So with this MIDI controller, I play the beats. I play the synthesizers, and I also play the external synthesizer. I also play this corner.
Volca?
Yeah, the Volca. And with this, actually, with Core Nano Control 2, I can do everything with this. I can record, and I can also mix, and I can change all the parameters, play the sequencer. Actually, with this controller, it's that can do everything with you can do everything with LiveLoop.
Core Control 2?
Yeah. And actually, if somebody what is watching this interview is interested into the software, you can write me an email because I can send you like the file that is already mapped. So it's just writing the file into the Nano controller and it's plug and play. Yeah. And with the Akai, this is like when I need extra features, extra functionalities, I just map them here. Yeah. So I can map the sequencer here, I map also the harmonizer here, and also the volumes of LiveLoop, the volumes of the sequencer, and mix here.
And your feed?
The feed, actually, my feed is only for the loop, for the recording the loops. So it can do the same as the recording of this, but sometimes when I play in the clarinet, I cannot move this. So this.
Yeah.
So and also I use this one, another one for playing the sequencer. So I have a button for sequencer.
So you mentioned that you do everything live. So what we saw in your performance, in the other video, everything was live.
Yes, everything. Nothing is pre-recorded. Nothing. I don't use samplers or anything. Everything is on the spot.
And the clarinet sounds. Can you explain a little bit about that? How did you?
Yeah. So the clarinet. This is how I play the clarinet. So I developed this idea. I put this. I was having problems with the clarinet before because it's difficult to get a full sound and to play with electronic with this. But I got this pickup, and then I made a hole with the in the clarinet, and I 3D printed. As I'm a mechanical engineer, I designed this part and 3D printed in rubber. Okay. So and I made a hole in the barrel. So the clarinet throws to here, and then we see it would come in line 1, and then from line 1 I brought it to the effects, and in the effects I play. I have an harmonizer, so what you hear in the performance is you hear like the clarinet plus a third and fifth and 1 octave lower and 1 octave higher, and I can tune that in a very specific way. By the way, this is a plugin. It's a Mac for Live plugin that it's free, available. So whoever likes the sound can ask for it. I will send it out right away. And I can have different bit quantized. For example, now I have 3 bit quantized. And I can say the first one, as I mentioned before, I want to be 5 bits, so I can play 5, and I only need to take care of the first bit. Then after 5 bits, it will automatically start looping.
Yes.
And I can do the same for the rest. If it's in 0, I just have to press when I decide, but if I want to be automatically, I do like that.
Yeah, exactly.
This is I'm very excited about this mode. This was one of the first modes I developed, but I'm starting now to experiment more in this mode, because it's like the possibilities are limitless. I don't know, because we're talking about 5, 3, and 7.
Yes.
But we can say 29,
yes,
53,
yes.
And let's see, experiment with these long loops. Like I think for ambient music, or it could be also very interesting.
Back to the software developing. Is it finished?
Sorry?
Is it finished? LiveLoop?
Yeah,
finished product?
Once somebody told me software is never finished.
Okay.
That's the reason we find the subscription model like be interesting for the software, because we have to keep in track. For example, this year, the people who use Mac, there was a release in Catalina, and it was a big struggle for developers to make the software work on that. And also, the software always needs a new. It can always be better, let's say, and add new features. And so my mission with LiveLoop is to be the standard live looping technique of the future. So I'm constantly, every day, working on the software, making it to run faster on the CPU, making that cleaning all the bugs they're there, and so there's always development for it.
Yeah. Josep, can you explain a little bit about how the LiveLoop software works together with the DAW?
Yes. So LiveLoop comes with it can be synchronized with MIDI clock. It can be either a slave or master, and also with Ableton Link. So now with any DAW now are implementing Ableton Link, so the time it will be synchronized, and it can be the master or following. So it's very easy how it works. Yeah. And with MIDI clock is the same thing. You can set up you can send the MIDI clock in, and LiveLoop will follow it, and you can also send out the MIDI clock for other pedals to follow it. So it's fully compatible with all the existing gear at the moment. Okay. So there are different ways you can exchange files. So with LiveLoop, I can save and export all the files directly in a WAV file or in a high quality file, and that can be ported to Ableton or any other DAW. And at the same time, there are tools like Sunflower, that's a free tool. If you need to send the audio from LiveLoop to a different DAW, it's also possible.
Okay. Very clarifying. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the demonstration and the performance.
Thank you.
And good luck with the software.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me into the Aquarium session, and I invite everybody to download the software at liveloop.live. Thank you very much.